Wan He is the most famous magician in Morangru, a busy red light district in UG. People admire him, but deep inside, he is unhappy. He misses the simple life he once had with his friend Bo Eum. Bo Eum loves Wan He, but he does not feel the same. Even though she is blind, she always protects him. She has become well known in Morangru as an acupuncturist, jisang, and palm reader. Both Wan He and Bo Eum have a painful past. They once suffered under Gui Mole, a cruel magician from the Qing dynasty. Wan He betrayed him, and they escaped. But even after many years, they live in fear, knowing Gui Mole will seek revenge. Their worst fear comes true when Gui Mole finally finds them in Morangru. Due to bad weather, the convoy of a Joseon princess, who has been sent to the Qing dynasty for a diplomatic marriage, stops at UG. Her name is not revealed in the movie, but Wan He calls her Chung Myung, so we will name her that. Like Wan He, Chung Myung is unhappy with her fate. She does not want to get married and hates being royal. After arriving in UG, she decides to stretch her legs and sneaks out of her quarters. Unfortunately, she gets separated from her maid and wanders the area alone. She passes by a group of beggars, who gather around her, desperately asking for food. In the chaos, she loses her shoes and runs to the mountainside for safety. She reaches a cliff and slowly walks toward the edge. Wan He happens to be there and assumes she is about to jump. Annoyed, he tells her to go somewhere else because it's his private spot. However, his voice startles her. Thinking he is a threat, she pulls out a tiny knife and swings it at him several times. But in her panic, she loses her footing and nearly falls. On instinct, Wan He grabs her arm, trying to pull her back. Instead of feeling relieved, she gets even more frightened. She bites him and keeps swinging the knife, forcing him to seize it and throw it away. He headbutts him. They lose balance and roll down the hill, landing in a very awkward position. She starts headbutting him again. After several headbutts and a bloody nose, Wan He groans, "How could you do this to me?" Chung Myung refuses to apologize, even though he did just save her life. Frustrated, Wan He storms off. But when she doesn't follow, he sighs and turns back. She is searching for the tiny knife, claiming it is more important than her life. Wan He is confused. If it's so important, then why was she about to throw her life away? Chung Myung insists she never planned to die and suddenly starts crying. Because of her sudden emotional outburst, Wan He panics. To calm her down, he performs a magic trick, making a firefly appear out of nowhere, but she doesn't even notice. Frustrated, he creates more fireflies. Before they part ways, Wan He lends her his shoes and gives her money for fare. Assuming she's a runaway, he tells her to go north and keeps giving her instructions without letting her speak. Chung Myung doesn't even get a chance to correct him. Suddenly, a strong wind blows, revealing his blue eye, which he usually hides with his hair. That night, both Wan He and Chung Myung think about their fated encounter. Wan He, in particular, feels giddy as he remembers the fiery Chung Myung. The next morning, Chung Myung overhears her maids talking about a blue-eyed magician. Gathering her courage, she tells An Dong-wai, her personal guardian, that she wants to watch the magician's show. He refuses at first because of safety concerns, but she insists and uses her authority as the princess. He finally agrees. Wan He spots Chung Myung in the crowd and realizes she's from the palace. Excited to see her again, he uses his magical charm to pick her as his guest assistant. During his performance, he secretly tells her to meet him at the cliff where they first met. For the final act of the night, Chung Myung is given the task of unlocking the restraint that binds Wan He inside a dangerous contraption. The trick is for Wan He to escape before the large blade above him comes down and cuts him in half. However, Chung Myung struggles to find the right key, and time runs out. The blade falls. Horrified, Chung Myung is frozen in shock. She watches in disbelief, traumatized by what just happened. Tears stream down her face as she cries out. But then, Wan He appears, perfectly fine. Overcome with emotion, she storms up to him and delivers a resounding slap. What no one realizes is that Wan He's assistant, who holds a deep grudge against him, had planned to sabotage the act. At the last moment, the assistant changes his mind and stops the real blade from falling. Meanwhile, Kim Gap Co secretly sells Morangru, including its entire crew and of course, Wan He, to Gui Mole. Later, Unknowingly speaks with Chung Myung about her recent stubbornness. She always thought he disliked her, but to her surprise, he actually praises her bravery. He tells her that, for the first time, she acted like a real princess. He hopes that in the future, even in the Qing dynasty, she will continue to speak up for what she truly wants. Wan He waits for Chung Myung at the cliff, eager to see her again. When he hears a noise, he quickly takes his position and mumbles the lines he practiced. But to his dismay, it's just a bunch of goats. Frustrated, he goes to her quarters, only to find her stuck in a hole. Chung Myung, pretending not to be excited to see him, uses the excuse of finding her knife just to spend time with him. As they walk through the streets, they pass the same group of beggars. Among them, they see a heartbreaking sight, a mother of 4 lying lifeless on the ground. The tragic scene deeply moves Chung Myung. She begs Wan He to help the children. At first, he is indifferent and unwilling to get involved. But in the end, he gives in, and finds himself digging a grave for the deceased. As they sit together, Chung Myung shares her thoughts. Even though the children are unfortunate to become orphans at such a young age, she still envies them. Despite their poverty, their mother never abandoned them. Unlike her, who was discarded and sold like an object. She then clarifies something that has been on Wan He's mind. That night at the cliff, she never intended to die. She just wanted to find a place where no one would abandon her or judge her. Since they still haven't found the knife, they agree to meet again tomorrow night. At that moment, Wan He falls for Chung Myung. Seeing her pain, he wants to make her happy. So, in secret, he sets out to find her knife. With the help of his loyal friends, he finally tracks it down. It's funny how his friends keep grumbling that he should just use his magic to find it. But Wan He simply tells them, magic is just for a show, not for real life. Asterisk. Unknowingly eventually catches on to Chung Myung and Wan He's secret nightly meetings. Deciding to put a stop to it, he orders the convoy to leave Uji immediately. But Chung Myung is one step ahead. She fakes an illness to delay their departure. Concerned for her health, the officials call for a healer, and Bo Eum is invited to examine the princess. Even though Bo Eum quickly realizes that Chung Myung is only pretending, she plays along with the act. The two women form an instant friendship, and Bo Eum offers to read Chung Myung's fortune. She tells the princess that she is a lucky woman because she will be loved all her life. Chung Myung finds this hard to believe, given her current predicament. But Bo Eum is confident that her prediction will come true. Because the princess's health is now a concern, the officials decide to overrule Unknowingly's decision to resume the journey. Chung Myung successfully buys more time in Uji, but Unknowingly is just as determined to stop her from sneaking out at night. He takes extra precautions, ensuring that she is well guarded. But Wan He isn't going to give up so easily. Using his magic tricks, he scares the guards away, clearing the path for Chung Myung to escape. Now that they're together, Wan He can't help but ask, is the princess beautiful? Chung Myung, acting bashful and shy, answers with a quiet, yes. Wan He then wonders if the princess will ever return home. Chung Myung replies that she will, but only if the Qing dynasty doesn't treat her well. Wan He, with a serious tone, remarks that even if they do treat her well, the princess won't live a peaceful life. She'll always be the target of countless assassination plots. Strikes a nerve with Chung Myung. She's furious that he's talking about her, the princess herself, in such a way. Angrily, she asks, "Don't you know who I am?" Wan He, without missing a beat, laughs and tells her, "Of course, I do. I'm just joking around." But here's the twist. He still doesn't know she's the princess. As they walk along the mountainside, they suddenly spot a bear in the distance. Conveniently, a rope attached to a pulley lies nearby. Wan He quickly grabs the rope, and it pulls them up, carrying them high above the ground and into the trees. Unbeknownst to Chung Myung, this is all part of Wan He's clever courting move. With a little help from his loyal friends who are dressed up as a bear, Wan He manages to get some close contact with her. Chung Myung grows increasingly frustrated at her inability to find the knife. Finally, she gives up and asks Wan He to teach her magic instead. This new interest in magic only gives them more reasons to meet each night. However, rumors about her nightly strolls have started to spread, thanks to her maid. Unknowingly, furious about this gossip, orders his second-in-command to put a stop to it. Initially ready to scold Chung Myung, he decides against it when he sees her happily showing off the magic tricks she's been learning from Won Hee. Won Hee is teaching Chung Myung a new trick, turning a stone into a ring. After he creates the ring, he slips it onto her finger, and with a soft smile, he tells her it suits her well. As they sit together, Won Hee opens up more about his background. He admits that he started learning magic because it brought him joy to entertain people. But the truth is, he's not a natural magician, he's just an actor playing the part. He acknowledges that he might not be the greatest magician or man, but promises that he'll give his best and help Chung Myung however he can. Won Hee and Chung Myung are enjoying a peaceful moment together in the fields, unaware that assassins are watching from the sidelines. Luckily, Unknowingly has been keeping an eye on them and takes action, killing one of the attackers. Later, Won Hee leads Chung Myung to a bird house. He asks for her name, but she refuses to reveal it, so he names her Chung Myung, saying she brightens up his day. She likes the name, and it becomes hers. He returns her knife, but she tells him she no longer needs it. Instead, she wants him to keep it as a reminder of her. However, Won Hee doesn't need a reminder. He thinks about her constantly and, with a heartfelt confession, tells her that he already loves her. Chung Myung is left speechless, and in that moment, Won Hee gives her a back hug, turns her around, and they share a passionate kiss. Just then, Bo Eum interrupts. She knows Chung Myung is there and purposely tells Won Hee that they can never leave this place, implying that this is where they truly belong. She adds a word of caution, advising him not to make decisions he might regret, though it's clear that her warning is meant for both Won Hee and Chung Myung. Unknowingly reprimands Chung Myung, warning her of the consequences of her relationship with Won Hee. She knows too well that if their growing bond is discovered, it will bring immense trouble for everyone involved, especially Won Hee. He is the only man who has ever treated her as an equal, like a commoner, and she doesn't want to risk him suffering because of her actions. The next day, the convoy is preparing to leave, and Won Hee is desperate for one last chance to see Chung Myung. In a last-ditch effort, he begs Bo Eum to take him along. However, nothing could have prepared him for the shock of his life. He learns that Chung Myung is actually the Joseon princess. This revelation changes everything, and Won Hee is forced to come to terms with the dangerous situation they are both in. To make matters worse, Won Hee finds himself accused of stealing the Seojin sword, adding another layer of chaos and tension to his already complicated predicament. Now, not only is he at risk of losing Chung Myung, but he also has to fight against a false accusation that could ruin his life. Chung Myung fiercely defends Won Hee's innocence, insisting that he couldn't have stolen the Seojin sword because she was with him at the time of the incident. Unknowingly is enraged by her public defense of Won Hee, unable to understand why she would take such a bold stance. But Chung Myung stands firm, revealing that she is no longer afraid to speak her truth. She is no longer the same princess who would keep quiet and conform to the expectations of those around her. Unbeknownst to them, Won Hee overhears the entire conversation, his heart filled with conflicting emotions. Despite the tension, he denies the accusations and explains that the real Seojin sword was likely switched with a fake, a trick commonly used by magicians. He points the finger at Gui Mole, a notorious magician known for such deceptions. Unknowingly, after hearing Won Hee's explanation, reluctantly believes him. He agrees to let Won Hee go, but only on the condition that he hides until the true Seojin sword is recovered. Despite this, Chung Myung is visibly distraught. She isolates herself from the world, refusing to eat or speak. Her grief becomes palpable when one of her maids takes away the shoes Won Hee had given her, the shoes he had lent to her on the night they first met. Overcome with sorrow, Chung Myung seeks out Unknowingly, desperately pleading with him to allow her one final conversation with Won Hee. She promises to return afterward, all she wants is the chance to say goodbye properly. At the cliff, Won Hee meets Chung Myung, and he leads her to the riverbank, where a boat waits. He pleads with her to leave with him, to escape to a place where they can live free from the constraints of royal duty and guards. He promises her a life of freedom, but Chung Myung, though torn, knows she cannot abandon her people. Her love for Won Hee is undeniable, but her duty as a princess outweighs her desire to be with him. She reflects on how, before meeting him, she dreaded each new day, but with him, she wished every tomorrow could last forever. Still, she knows their love can only exist in her heart, not in the reality of their world. With a heavy heart, she bids him farewell, apologizing for having to let him go. Won Hee, heartbroken, runs after her, but before he can reach her, Gui Mol appears, taunting him before disappearing into thin air. Terrified, Won Hee follows Chung Myung's convoy, only to find the guards and escorts dead and Chung Myung gone. Meanwhile, Gui Mol makes his intentions clear. He has claimed ownership of the Morangru. Bo Eum, visibly terrified by him, realizes the gravity of the situation. When An Dong-wai and his men arrive, Kim Gap-soo tries to calm the escalating tension. But Gui Mol is anything but diplomatic. He's not interested in the princess or the Seojin sword, his only desire is to settle the score with Won Hee. In a brutal move, Gui Mol orders his goon to kill Kim Gap-soo, framing An Dong-wai for the crime. This sparks a fierce battle between the two factions, escalating the conflict to new heights. Bo Eum struggles to escape Gui Mol's grip, but her blindness makes it nearly impossible. Despite her condition, Gui Mol shows no mercy, attacking her relentlessly. In a desperate attempt to defend herself, Bo Eum stabs at him with a knife but misses. Gui Mol, cold and calculating, decides to use her as bait to lure Won Hee, but Bo Eum, unwilling to be part of his cruel plan, chooses to end her own life. Meanwhile, the inevitable showdown between Won Hee and Gui Mol unfolds. They face off in a final battle, one that will settle all their unfinished business. But Won Hee is no match for Gui Mol's dark magic. Gui Mol uses shadow illusions to manipulate Won Hee, making him unknowingly kill his own friends. Broken and defeated, Won Hee begs for death, but Gui Mol has other plans. He wants Won Hee to suffer before the end. Chung Myung wakes up, trapped in the same contraption Won Hee once used for a death-defying trick, while Won Hee, also bound, struggles to escape. The rope holding the blade is burned, preventing the deadly trap from triggering. Just as hope seems lost, Won Hee's loyal friends arrive in time to prevent the blade from falling, giving Won Hee a chance to escape. Despite his escape, Gui Mol's strength and cruelty overwhelm Won Hee. He's brutally beaten, the fight nearly impossible to describe in words. But against all odds, Won Hee survives the critical blows and, with unwavering determination, triumphs over Gui Mol, emerging victorious and ending the terror once and for all. In the final moments, An Dong-wai helps Won Hee and Chung Myung escape, guiding them to safety. The next scene reveals the emotional weight of their journey. On a cliff, they share a moment of deep sadness, fully aware that returning is impossible and their future is uncertain. They hold hands, a symbol of their love and resolve, and, in a desperate act, they jump off the cliff. Their bodies are never found. Some believe the current swept them away, while others whisper that magic was involved in their disappearance. The truth remains a mystery. Years later, An Dong-wai narrates the story of Won Hee and Chung Myung to his niece, reflecting on how they survived the chaos. Just as he finishes, he receives a package. Inside, he finds a painting of Won Hee, Chung Myung, and a child, likely their son, along with some familiar faces, presumably members of their old Morangru crew. The painting suggests that they've found a new life, performing together on the streets of Europe. An Dong-wai smiles, understanding that their love lived on, not in the world they knew, but in a new chapter of their lives. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.